Today's video is all about non-farm payroll and last night's unemployment claims figures. Hello and welcome to another ACY Securities Market Update. My name is Alistair Schultz and I'll be your host for today's trading journey. Now, as always, I'd like to give a little bit of a COVID-19 update. At the moment, we've passed 3.8 million infections. We have nearly 270,000 deaths so far, and the recovery rates have sort of remained stable at around 1.2 million the last couple of days. Now, moving on from that, it is all about NFP. So just to recap and summarize what has happened over the last month, this has been the biggest shock to the US system ever. We've had nearly 20 million jobs lost in the past month alone, and if we go back to the 21st of March, it's been 30.3 million people who have filed for unemployment benefits. Now, putting that all into consideration, last night at the unemployment claims figures, we had another 3.17 million people file for unemployment. So this has now put us at a total well above 33 million people in a very short space of time. These numbers, I must say, are astronomical, never before sort of seen. And if we put it in comparison to what's happened during the Great Depression to now, we're kind of getting to a point where we've just had so many people so quickly that we might even surpass what happened during the Great Depression. Now, the forecast for tonight is apparently for 16% unemployment rate, and obviously for those figures to be coming out and the ADP figures to be on point, we need to see that sort of number. I don't think that it's likely to happen. Now, there are three alternatives here. Naturally, there's landed on 16% where it becomes accurate. There is below 16% where it seems that it is better for the economy. And there is above 16%, which is probably the most likely outcome here. The only thing that would challenge that theory is depending on how many people are actually eligible for unemployment benefits who have actually applied for them. You may find that there are some that have enough cash reserves, or perhaps they have a second job, or perhaps they have someone else in the family household that is able to support their way. So if that is the case, then we might run into some issues there around how many people are actually truly unemployed versus what the unemployment claims figures really are. The other side of this is that there are a number of people who actually have to put in claims on a weekly basis. So it may not actually give us a true representation of how many people are truly unemployed. So definitely some things to consider for tonight. Obviously, if it's low, then we're going to have that as good for the economy. But regardless of that factor, I mean, how good for the economy is it really when you say, oh, well, it didn't quite make 16% unemployment, but we're about 15. You know, you can't exactly put that in a good light either way. It is a massive amount of people to have been unemployed in the space of a month. It's just ridiculous. So the next thing to sort of really consider from there is if it lands on point, then we might not see any reaction. I don't think that there's really been any pricing in for NFP this week. We haven't seen much in the way of US dollar pairs. Certainly not the S&P 500 isn't reflecting any of the situation that's going on right now. So there is a little bit of disconnect there. So let's have a look, and we're going to have to really be patient about it tonight and see what happens. Naturally, the other side of this, and it's going to be the bad one, is if the number actually goes beyond 20%. And if it does go beyond 20% for an unemployment rate, then we really are starting to look like we're in another depression period already. So to move on from that, we do have a couple of other things for you tonight. The first thing of which is that we have a monetary policy statement coming out from the Reserve Bank of Australia. So be aware of that during the day. Usually it's about 2:30 or 3:30, but it could be delayed. The next one is that we have the ECB's president, Lagarde, speaking. We also have Canadian unemployment occurring. And then, of course, later tonight, it's naturally going to be non-farm payroll figures. So be aware of that. Keep an eye on it. And if you are going to trade NFP, think about the three options I've sort of presented to you as to where it might go and what you feel is going to be the most probable and what you feel is going to benefit your trading. Anyways, that's all I've really got for today for you on NFP and the other things. But if you do have any questions or you do want to get in contact with me, feel free to shoot me an email at talk2al@acy.com. And of course, feel free to like and subscribe to this video so you can get more great content from me and ACY Securities in the future. Have a great trading day ahead.